So welcome everyone to this is I think the fourth group admin training that we've done around the new website. And so we're very excited to be getting closer to launching our new Diamond Approach public site and portal. It's been a project that we've been working on for, I think, some of us, I've been working on it for over a year. Eric has been working on it for maybe 2 years. And Rob may have been working on it for over 3 years. So it's a long time coming. It's a big project. And I think that given the big scope of it, it's important that we all just kind of take a moment and take a breath and acknowledge what a big deal this is. You know, this is going to change how we all work, especially with regard to online things, with students and teachers and teachings with the Diamond Approach. So I think we just need to remember, the Diamond Approach training whatever training we've received about being curious about our own experience and inquiring into the difficulties that we face before launching into this. Okay, so and then today we are joined by Eric Reed, who has been working on the project, as I said, for quite a while. He will be available to answer questions, and he'll chime in if I say something that's false, I hope. So the general outline of how we've been doing these is, this is quite a long list of things we could go over in this call. And our aim is to keep it to under an hour so that, at 11, I'm going to check in, and, if anyone needs to leave, you can leave. I'll probably keep going after that, but, we want to honor everyone's time. So we'll start out just by, I want to, see if anyone has any questions before we start. Like, what's at the top of your mind? What is that anxiety that you're, the most concerned about, even before we start? It may be we get to it in this training, but it may be that we don't. And I want to see, get a kind of a sense of what people are concerned about. And then we'll launch into some basic concepts about the website. What does it mean to have a role in the system, and what is the portal versus the public site? What does permissions mean, and these kinds of things. I've been doing a kind of more extended tour of the public site for teachers. I think I'm going to keep that short and let you explore the public site more on your own. Then we'll talk about logging in and resetting your password more in depth. I'll show you where to get help in the website, in the portal, and how to, submit your feedback if you have any, if you notice any bugs, or just how to get support. Okay, then we'll take a look at one of the main features of the portal, which is the group hub feature. Each teaching group has a group hub, which is kind of like a private little mini site within the portal just for that group. And one of the responsibilities of the group admin will be to kind of manage what's going on there. What features does your group want to use? What features don't you want to use? What is showing up and how it's all linking together. And we'll start by looking at some of the main features that you may want to use, such as the calendar, which is the event functionality of the system. So how to put in events and have them show up in a calendar so that students can register and even pay for online the weekends and the retreats and events in your group. We'll take a look at the teaching library, which is the audio, mostly audio, although it does function with video if you have it, but it's the audio library of teachings. And we've imported those over from the old portal if you had been using that. And then we'll look at the directory, which is just a way in your group of seeing who's there. And, you know, if you've got pictures for students and teachers, those will show up, and we can look at people's profiles through that. And then there are a number of other features, and I'll show you how to turn those on and off. I'll show you how to edit the group hub. Then we'll take a look at one of the main areas that you'll get really familiar with, your RID1 admin dashboard, which is a handful of features, you know, that are for you as an admin for this group. One thing I should mention is that, you know, I understand that some groups have a dedicated group admin. Some groups may have more than one even. Some groups do not have a dedicated group admin, and it's the teacher that is acting as the group admin. So I understand that, you know, we have a lot of groups around the world, and they all function just a little bit differently. And so we've built this portal to kind of to meet as many needs as we can. But, you know, each group is different, and so each group is going to have to kind of work with these sets of tools, and then if there's something that the system doesn't do right away, we can look at you know, adding that functionality in the future. It's a system that's meant to evolve. So, but yeah, the other thing is that you as group admins have a harder task. You have a steeper learning curve than the teachers even, and of course steeper than you know, traditional students who are not admins. You have a lot more to learn here, and just this list that I'm showing you is not all. So this is really the basics for group admins. So that's just one thing I want to, you know, I want to acknowledge that the group admins have a lot to learn, and that's just going to require a little bit of extra patience. You know, this is going to take weeks, if not months, to really start to feel familiar and like you own, you know, you really kind of own the system in a way. So yeah, the RID1 admin dashboard we'll take a look at. We'll show you how to verify the roster of your students. And then we can look more at some of the things you might want to do. So which features do you want to use in the group hub? Do you want to have a customized group hub homepage? You know, what specifically does it mean to add upcoming events to the system? You know, we already talked about checking that the student directory is accurate. You want to make sure that student dues that have been paid. It looks like this is one thing that did not migrate from the old system, so you'll have to go in and make sure that everyone who has paid dues for this year is marked as such, so that that way, because in the system you'll see there's a way that they can see what they've paid for and whether they've paid their dues or not. So we'll get into all that stuff. And then just making sure the right recordings are available. Some group admins do kind of double duty as recording admins, and that's a separate training in and of itself. So if you're a group admin who is a recording admin also, you have even more to learn. But just to get started, I want to just see if there are kind of big questions. They might be, you know, really vague, kind of nebulous, like almost anxieties about what this system is going to do. I just want to make a space for that and capture them ahead of time, just so that I can make sure in future trainings to do, you know, to address them. So yeah.
Nathan, Lisa. I have a question.
Sure.
Is this a certain product that I could go to YouTube and just watch generic how-tos?
That is a great question. Yeah. So the answer is yes. This is a certain product, and you could go to YouTube and watch kind of generic videos. You know, I'm not sure how useful that would be, but I think you will end up finding a lot of useful. Hold on one second. Yeah, so sorry about that. So the product that we're using for this system, it's an open source content management system called Drupal. And that's Drupal. And so, you know, Google is your best friend in terms of a lot of the questions you might encounter. So you can Google, you know, how do I do such and such in Drupal? That will get you so only so far, because we have a customized system. It's really built for Ridwan, for the Diamond approach. And so, you know, we hope to have enough helpful resources, videos and documentation, so that for the specific things you need to do, there's clear documentation. And then if you want to do something that's kind of outside the box, you can Google about Drupal. There's a second answer to that question, which is that we're also using a product called Civi CRM. So a CRM is something like, you may have heard of Salesforce. It stands for Contact Relationship Management System, or something like that. And it's a sales tool for managing leads and you know, tracking the flow of contacts in your system. Civi CRM is an open source version of that kind of thing for nonprofits. And in this case, it stands for contribution, you know, relationship management, something like that. So Civi CRM, CIVI CRM, is another tool we're using. So these two are really sitting together to achieve a lot of what you'll need to do. Civi CRM is really about the payments. That's how we're using it primarily right now. So anything that has to do with setting up payments for your group will probably be done in Civi CRM. Everything else will probably be done in Drupal. There are some blurry lines there, but that's a great question.
Well, thanks for your answer. I appreciate that.
Sure, yeah. Okay, any other kind of burning questions or anxieties? Again, most of you probably haven't, you know, you don't have a login, you haven't gotten into the system, so it may just be, you know, this abstract thing. So we'll make time for more questions as we continue. Okay, so let's go over some basic concepts that you'll need to know. And in order to do that, I'm going to open up the website. So the first kind of basic concept is, here, let me log out of that. Okay. So the first basic concept is public versus portal. So we have a public website, which is it's kind of our marketing website. It's like a brochure. And if you go to, here's the URL. Oops. Just disappeared. Okay. If you go to this URL, which is https://prod.diamondapproach.org. This is the address of our website until we do the full launch. So we're not doing the full launch of the website right now. We're kind of in a soft launch phase. So we're hoping to roll out to California Diamond Heart 9, maybe even today. And then, you know, we'll be sort of opening it up slowly to a few more groups and then doing the full launch, we hope, you know, by the end of this month. And when we do go fully live with the website, it will be, you can access that at www.diamondapproach.org. But for now, it's PROD. So when people from the public go to this website, maybe they find it via Google, or they get a link on Facebook or Twitter, some other social media. Maybe a friend of theirs emails them the website address, the URL. This is what they'll see, and this is really their first exposure, possibly, to the Diamond Approach at all. Maybe they've never heard anything else about it. And so I will leave this to you to explore. We've got these kind of main pages, and you'll see there's some videos and all kinds of stuff here on the public site. We have a teacher directory. We've got this Ways to Engage page, shows people in different parts of the world how to get involved. We have new groups even opening up in South Africa and Asia, Australia, New Zealand. So how to find an open teaching group, how to find a teacher who is looking for private students, how to find a public event in your area. Those are the sorts of things you can do here in the Ways to Engage section. So this is the public site. And then I want to contrast that with the portal, which is our private website. So you have to have a password to get to the portal. You don't have to have a password to look at the public site. And so it's really kind of our walled, it's our social network. It's our, Diamond Approach, it's our own social network. And, within that even, as I said earlier, each group has their own little private mini site, their own group hub. So that's just a broad kind of basic concept I want to make sure is clear, because it's not necessarily obvious, when you look at it. The other main kind of basic concept I want to get across early on is the idea of permissions and roles. So when we log into the portal, you will see, actually I can show you, the portal looks very different for me. And, I have a certain role in the system. I have certain permissions in the system. That means I can do certain things. Permissions really means what you can do in the system. And then you as group admins will have your own role, and there are things that you can do in the system. Teachers have their own role and their own permissions, and students have their own role and permissions. So the portal, it may look different to everyone in a way, because each of these roles has its own kind of set of things it can do. You as a group admin will have this menu here at the top, but students and teachers will not have that. So that's a basic example of, how the portal might look different to you. So, as a group admin, you get a little more power. You have a little bit more access. So a basic concept, just getting out of the way of what kind of roles are and permissions are. Okay. So we looked at we talked about some basic concepts. We looked very briefly at the public site. I'm going to talk right now about logging in and setting your password. So normally, to log into the website, you can just click Portal Login here in the upper left corner. So you'll just go to the website and you can click that. That will take you to a page. Now, if you've logged in before from this computer in this browser, it may recognize you. And all you have to do is put in your password. And then you'll be able to sign in very quickly. If you've never signed in before from this browser, or if you've recently cleared your browser cache, I know that's a piece of jargon, but you may be asked to clear your cache at some point. We can talk about that later. Then you will have to put in your username, which again is your email address, which is different from the old portal. In the old portal, you had a username that was, it was something, it was like a little, could have been your name, for example. But in this new system, it's your email address. And the reason for that is that a lot of systems are moving this way to use the email address as the login It's just one less thing you have to remember. So, and then your password. So this is normally how you'll do it. Now, that's different from how you're going to log in the very first time and how everyone is going to log in the very first time. So you'll get an email like this. I'll send it to you all today, which says time-sensitive access to the new Diamond Approach portal. And, you know, you can read through it, but, you know, the most important things to notice are, it'll say your username is now your email address, and it'll say what we have as your email address. And then it'll give you this link here. It says, you may now log into the new portal by clicking this link or copying and pasting it to your browser. So when you click this link, it'll take you to a place where you can set your password for the first time. So everyone's going to have a new username, their email address, and a new password in the system. And you know, it's good internet hygiene to use kind of a new password for all these different websites. You know, I've been guilty of this in the past myself, which is to use the same password for everything, but it's definitely opening yourself up to some security risks if you use the same password for everything. So, you know, highly recommend finding a way to remember all the different passwords you have and to create unique ones. Okay, so once you, yeah, go ahead.
What if you want a different email address from the one that you have on record?
We can change that for you in a heartbeat. Yeah, that's not hard to do. So just send me an email after this if you would like to use a different email address.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And we can change that at any time. So, you know, even if you set up your account and set your password with one email address, we can change it tomorrow at any time. So, yeah, that's a good question.
You can do that yourself when
Nathan,
you log in.
That's right. Yeah.
This is Sheila, I have a question too. Will we have the same, then will we, in our home group, will we use our personal email? So it'll be different
So
than the Ridwan email when we go in as an admin?
Oh yeah, so for right, I believe that most group admins are also students. Maybe in the same group, maybe not. So I think that we're saying that it's going to be important. Eric, correct me about this if I'm wrong, but I think you will have different accounts for those.
Yes.
That's correct, Eric says. Okay. So, you know, and there's a kind of complex reason for that, but essentially, yeah, if you will be invited to use a different email address for your student login and for your admin login. Now that's not a hard set rule, but you know, we can talk about why that is. Essentially, as an admin, you will see a lot of things that you may not want to see every day as a student. So there's trade-offs. We can go more into that, and that policy may evolve. Okay. So again, this is your first time login experience. Okay. So we looked at login and resetting passwords. Now I'm going to show you how to, once you've logged in to the portal, how to get help, where the help section is. So I'm going to go ahead and log in here as myself. Okay, so here we are in the portal. And you know that this is the portal because you get this black sidebar on the left. And there's the logo that says Diamond Approach Portal. It's a good sign that you've entered the portal. And then you see these main menu items over here on the left. So we'll explore those a little bit. You know, there's a lot here in the portal, I have to say. And so we won't have time to explore it all together, but for our purposes right now, we're looking for the help area, and that is under this more section in the menu. So the little dot, 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 ellipsis, more section. You can click on more, it opens up another little panel, and then you can see there's help here. And so you can go to the help section. So this is expanding quite a bit, even now. But you'll see right away when you get to the help section, we've got a little video here that one of our outreach managers made. You can't hear the audio, but I can. About how to log into the portal. And then we also have another little video here about how to change your password in the portal. And these are all, a minute or less, really. How to change your contact information, how to find your group in the portal, how to find a recording. So these are basic little things that you can, we have instructions for right away. And we're going to be adding to that, a lot over the next few weeks. And then if you do get stuck, you can always email support@diamondapproach.org. This isn't very visible here at the top, but this is, this will make sure that you get help as soon as possible. This email address goes to a kind of ticketing support system that is viewed by a number of people. So we'll have some of Ridwan's brightest portal users helping you out with that. Okay, so that's really about how to get help. So now I'm going to show you what a group hub looks like. And to do that, I'm going to do a little bit of off-screen magic. I don't know why I'm doing it off screen, but what I'm doing is essentially, I'm going to be masquerading as Priya Hemingway. And so that's something I can do in the system, which is to masquerade as different users so that I can see that, I can essentially see what they see in the system and make sure that what they see is what they're supposed to see. And so right now this is as if you are logged in as we're all logged in as Priya, who's an admin for, she does a lot of our bookkeeping here, and she's also a CA DH9 admin. Okay, so as a group admin, you can find the groups that you are a part of, either as a student or, as an admin, under this My Groups and Events section of this menu. And that will take you right to the group hub for these groups. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, so what I did was in this left menu, I clicked on My Groups and Events. And I'm going to go over here to California Diamond Heart 9. Okay. So this is our first view of a group hub in the portal. And this is what, this is really to be of use and service to students and teachers, to create a kind of a sense of community here in the portal for the group. And so we see that California Diamond Heart 9, they've got a group homepage that Priya has set up here that we're looking at right now. So she's, composed this text and added these links for downloads and things just to this homepage. And that's something that you can do as well for your group. And we'll even make this available as a template for you to use. And then at the top here, we see these are all the different features. Well, these are many of the different features, not all of them, that you can choose for your group hub. And we see that Priya has chosen to use the calendar and forums, teaching library, resources, and directory. I'll go over each of these in turn, but you know, one basic thing to understand is that you can turn these on and off as you choose. So you could start out using none of them. You could have just a group homepage, really, or you could have just one. You could start out and just use the calendar or just use the forum. That's really up to your group. You know, however you make decisions, I guess it would be a conversation with your teachers. And so this, you can turn these on and off, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's take a look at the calendar. So here we see the month view of California Diamond Heart 9. They just had a weekend retreat. And I could click on that if I wanted to take a look at that weekend. There's also a list view. And we see, excuse me, we see some, excuse me. Some upcoming weekends for the group. And you can, actually, I'll go back. You can click on any of these to learn more about that. So I'm going to click on the October weekend. And one thing to notice is that you, as a group admin, you get these kind of view and edit buttons and this button that says clone content. Those will not be visible to teachers or students. They really break up the kind of visual flow of the page. So you can rest easy that will, you know, the page will look better to students and teachers. But those are special things that you can do. So we're looking at an event right now. This is the October weekend. We see that it has a, you know, start and an end date, time. There's a little box for fees here, and then a section that shows the teachers that are teaching this weekend. There's also a button here that says make payment. And so, you know, a new part of this portal is that people can make payments using credit cards or PayPal through the system. So I'll click on that to show you what it looks like. So, you know, Priya has set this up so that the tuition, the default tuition for the event is $155. You can see that in order to register, you put in your name and email address. You know, we have a way to set up discount codes for the event. She set up some alternative ways to pay, depending on what you're doing. There's work trade, that sort of thing. And then you can see that you can put in a credit card number here, you know, just like when you're buying anything online, and make a payment right through the website. And so that's an exciting new thing that you can do here. I want to pause on this credit card form briefly to say what makes this possible, or what makes this a really safe thing to do, to take credit card payments through our website, is that we're using an encrypted website. And you know that because we're looking at when you see in your browser, there's a little green lock. That means that this is an encrypted, verified website. That means that all of the little messages, all the data that transfers between the browser and the, you know, whatever else magic happens to make websites happen, that it's secure and encrypted. So, so this is another good piece of internet hygiene. I would highly recommend that for all browsing that you do, you use the secure version of any website that you go to. Really, you can't do this enough if you want to protect your privacy, is to use the secure version. You just type in this little S, you know, and it makes the website secure. Or the website will tell you that there's not a secure version available. So that's also a possibility. But anyway, I just want to assure you that that we're using a secure website, that credit card data that goes to our payment processors is encrypted before it leaves your computer. And so no one could intercept that in the middle. Okay. So I know that also some groups are not going to use that feature of, of doing credit card payments right away, especially groups in Europe. They tend to do things with bank transfers. We're hoping to have the ability to do, alternative forms of payment like bank transfers through the website soon, but we don't have that right away.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, go ahead, Anthony.
Are all credit card transactions done through PayPal?
Yes, that's a good question. Well, I'll let you finish the question if there was more to it.
No.
Okay, yeah. So PayPal is running as our payment processor. It's called our gateway. So it's a little confusing, and I think this language actually we should change this to say credit card instead of PayPal here, because we don't want to confuse people. But essentially, there are a number of credit card processors, payment processors out there. Authorize.net is one of them, and PayPal does a bunch of these. But essentially, you could click on this link here, and this will actually take you away from our site to PayPal. You see that we've moved over to paypal.com here. So that's one way to pay. But when you fill out your credit card here, you don't leave our website. But, just something for you to know is that PayPal is still doing the payment processing for us.
But I, as a payer, don't have to have a PayPal account.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
That's the main point. Yeah, you as a payer do not have to have a PayPal account. Yeah. So that is something that
I would suggest you change that payment method to credit card. Then
I
not PayPal.
completely agree. Yeah. I'm going to make a note of that. Every time I look at this website, I see something new. Okay, so let's see. We've got about 17 minutes left. So we looked at events. I'm going to go back a few pages. Okay. Here we are back at the California Diamond Heart 9 Group Hub. I just want to walk through some of these other features just so you know what you have to choose from. Forums. Now, yeah, the idea of an online forum is something that's, as old as the World Wide Web. And these are, this is something that we have, this is one feature you could choose to use in your group. And so this means you have a private place for discussion that is just visible to your group. If you want to talk about, life practice, logistics, or fundraising for, various things in your group. If you want to talk about the teachings and the practices, if you want to talk about, if people want to do ride share to a weekend, they could do it through the forums. And if they want to do, if they're looking for an inquiry partner, they could do it through the forums. So I will just zoom into one of these. Let's look at the life practice forum here. So now we see that we could start a new topic in this forum. We could follow this forums, which that is incorrect English, as you may notice. And I believe that we have submitted that to our developers to change. But it should say follow either these forums or this forum. So we see that we have a topic here started by Nathan Rosequist called Donate Supplies, and another one called People to Lead Activities. So these are life practice discussions. And then when we zoom in, when we click on any of those, we see that there's a discussion going on. So we have a comment from Eric about supplies that are needed for life practice. And then I could reply to that if I want to, just by clicking this reply. And then I would get a little form here that, you know, I can leave a comment on this forum. And it looks, there's a lot of buttons here, but, you know, this is a lot like Microsoft Word, where you get bold, you can, you know, really style the text that you are entering. Anyway, that's kind of the basic idea of forums, if you choose to use them. So the teaching library is a main feature of these group hubs, and this is something that we had in the old portal. We have brought into the new portal. We've migrated all the recordings that were in the old portal to the new system. And so, you know, we see in California Diamond Heart 9 a lot of weekend recordings back for years, you know, as long as the group has been recording their events. So that we can look at any of these, we can see, you know, who was teaching that time and what the date was. If I click on this event, we'll see that now we can listen to any of the recordings from that weekend. So, you know, the morning meeting about valuing truth, you can listen to the meditation or the kind of the I don't want to call it a lecture, but, you know, the teaching. And then there's a Q&C, question and comment section. We have also the same for the afternoon. And then we also have Sunday. So, and then for each of these, I could either download the recording as an MP3 and load it on my iPod or however you listen to music, or you can actually, you can listen to the recording right in the browser. And so that means you don't have to download all of these recordings and, you know, clog up your hard drive. You can listen to them right in the browser. You know, so you could browse to this website on your iPhone or your iPad, and you can listen to it right in the browser, and it, you know, saves a lot of hard drive space. So that's kind of a nice thing in the new portal. And then you can just, once you listen to the meditation, you can go to the next one, listen to the teaching, and you can just go through it and listen to the whole weekend if you want, without downloading any files. Just stream it right through your browser. Okay.
Nathan, this is Sheila. I have another question.
Hi, Sheila.
For both the forums and the, like, even the recordings, if you join a forum, do you join the forum? And if so, do you get an email when there's a new comment, or do you have to just go in and log into the site to find out new stuff?
So that is something that I have not tested, whether an email gets sent. Eric, I don't know if you know.
No, there aren't any email updates at this time.
No email updates.
You can subscribe, and then you can go to my portal and my forums and see
Right.
things that you subscribe to. But
Yeah.
at this time, there's no email updates.
So if I wanted to subscribe to, you know, this life practice area, I could click on follow this forums, and then any updates that happen in this forum would also show up in, there's this My Forums area. So that just, you know, it'll show any updates that happen. I just followed it for Priya. Okay, so does that answer your question? Okay. Okay, let's look at resources really quickly. Resources are any documents, PDFs, you know, text that you want to have available to students and teachers, you know, very easily. So in CADH9, they have a bulletin that they do. They have a registration PDF that they use. There's Priya's address. And so, and then also there are some resources that are shared. We have an all-school hub that I could show you. It's under All School here. There's an All School Hub. It's basically a hub following this structure, but it's available to everyone in the school, kind of our commons. And so some of the resources are shared between that All School Hub and the groups. Essentially, bottom line about this is you can use it if you want, and it's a place you can make links and text available. So the directory then is the last feature I'll show you right now. And these directories take a little bit longer to load than the other pages. It's something we're hoping to improve. While that's loading, I'll see if there are any other burning questions. Yes?
Yeah, Nathan, I'm wondering, does it matter which browser you use?
So yeah, it should not matter. You should be able to use Chrome or Firefox or Safari or Microsoft Edge. If you're using an older computer, you know, I don't believe that we are testing down to like IE8, so that is something that we are, you know, actively working on testing right now is all the other different browser incompatibilities. But long and short of it is you should be able to use any relatively modern browser. Yeah. And if something looks extra funky, you know, that would be an issue you can submit, as maybe it could be a browser incompatibility. So good question. Okay, so here's the directory for California Diamond Heart 9. We see that we can move down the page. We see the teachers, the main teachers for the group. We see the group admin here. And then we see the students. And you'll see that some students have photos, some do not. If we had a photo for the student in the old system, that has been migrated over. And so this may be incentive for students to upload a photo for the first time. And then for any of these, you can click on them. I'll click on Evelyn here. And you can see their profile. So teachers have their own kind of profile, that they have this teacher survey that they've been given. So the answers to that are visible. How did you get into the Diamond Approach and that sort of thing. And, you know, where do you teach? What groups do you teach? What languages do you teach in? Whether you're accepting new students, that sort of thing. As a group admin, you know, Priya can look at her own profile, and Priya could even edit her profile. So this is something you may want to do, is to edit your profile. And I'll show you what that looks like. So this is a page that looks different for you than it does for the teachers or the students. So what we're looking at here is a Drupal form. We're looking at the Drupal backend. And this is what we try to hide this from students and teachers as much as possible. But, you know, with great power comes great responsibility. So you get these fun Drupal forms. But this is where you can change your own password and change your email. You'll see that there's a few different tabs to this profile section, and you can explore those as you wish. But this is information about information statements, and then personal information is where you could upload a picture. Something you could end up being asked to help students with is to get an image of the right size. So we're looking for images that are 200 by 200 pixels, and that may, you know, you may have never heard of something measured in pixels before, but that's how we do things here on the web. So students, teachers, everyone will want an image that has been cropped to 200 by 200. And there are probably 1,000 websites, if I Google, you know, crop photo, that can do this for you, where you just upload the photo and then you can crop it right in the browser itself. But that's a topic for another day. Okay. So we've really looked at the features of the Group Hub. I could show you how to edit the group hub, but really quickly, while we still have everyone here, I'm going to skip ahead to looking at the RIDWAN admin dashboard, because this is where you'll do a lot of work, or this is where you'll, if you're looking for how to do something, often a good place to start is the RIDWAN admin dashboard. Okay, so let me go back to the portal landing page, just so that you see how to do this right when you log in. Okay, so here we are at the portal landing page, and you can tell that that's where you are because you get this nice starry background and a quote from Hamid, and you see some news. It's things that are going on in the school at large. This is visible to everyone. So from here, if I see I have this menu bar here at the top. And again, that's something that's reserved for admins. It's not visible to teachers or students unless they also have an admin role. So we can stack these roles on top of each other if you have multiple roles. Someone could be a teacher and a group admin and a recording admin and a student at the same time. So you get all these different buttons. I'm going to show you this one. It's the RIDWAN admin dashboard. I'm going to click on that. So we see, it's not beautiful, but it's pretty straightforward. We see all these different, basically, functions or things you might want to do in the system. We can manage groups. We can add new prospects. We could add content. We could manage content. We can manage users. Lots of different stuff that's available to you here. And actually, Priya, because she has a further level of permissions called the RIDWAN admin, and so she's seen things here that you will not see. So she's got, some of these things down here you probably will not see. But let's look at manage groups, because this is a main area that you'll use a lot. So again, I went to RIDWAN admin dashboard, and then here I'm clicking on manage groups. So all the groups that you are an admin for should show up here. If you are supposed to be an admin for a group and it doesn't show up here, please do email me, nathan@ridwan.org, or anyone who might be able to help you. Or you could just send an email to support@diamondapproach.org. So here we see Priya's group, California Diamond Heart 9. If I click on either of these first two links, it'll take me right back to the group hub. So I'm gonna press Control on my keyboard and click on that. So I'm on a Windows computer. If you're on a Mac, I think you press the little Apple button. But that opens the link in a new tab. It's sort of an advanced thing if you might want to learn how to do. So we see that now we're back at the California Diamond Heart 9 group hub. Here we have an edit link. I'm going to do the same thing, press Control and click on this, and it opens up in a new tab. Here we see we can actually edit the group, CADH9. So this is where I can say, what is the group called? This is where I would turn on and off those features that we were looking at: calendar, forums, library, resources, directory, all that stuff we were looking at. So if I wanted to say, turn off the forums, I would just uncheck that. And then I could save the page. So whenever you make a change on one of these forums, you generally have to click save, either at the top or at the very bottom of the page. I'm going to undo that because I think Priya wants to have the forums. But again, this is a classic Drupal backend form. It's extremely long and overwhelming. And so just take this one bit at a time. Don't try to memorize it all. You're going to have to, the best way to practice this sort of stuff is just by doing. So, when you have to do something, that's the best way for the mind to really absorb that knowledge, is when you don't have a choice. You have to learn how to get rid of, the forms or something. But it can be very overwhelming. Okay, so going back to this, yeah.
Nathan, before you leave that page, this is Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. At the very bottom, there are like these URL settings. Is there any need for us or the admins to understand what those are?
That is a good question. My mouse just died. So I'm going to change the battery, but let's see. I think I can get back to it using my keyboard. No, there we go. Oh, I'm keyboard only right now. So these ones.
Yes.
So yeah, you don't need to worry about any of these little things that happen at the bottom. I wish I could point with my mouse.
URL pathways, revision
Yeah,
information.
exactly.
Information. Yeah.
Hold on one second. Candace, do you have a AA battery anywhere? My mouse has died.
Sorry, it's Nicole. Nathan, did you say something about,
Sure.
if people want to try out and test things, and really kind of would be good to then go into the testing side and not the production side?
Yeah, so that's a good point, Nicole.
And I know I just had a meeting with the developers, so right now the testing side is lagging a little bit behind the production side, but by the end of the day they will be the same. And when we go live with California 9, the production side will be frozen, and all the testing, testing trying to figure out will have to be done on the testing side, and then we implement things as we go along. But of course, if you set up your forms for your groups and stuff, you want to go right away into the production side. But if you want to get a first feeling how things work and how would it show up if I put a word in there, then I would really recommend to go in the testing side and mess around there, because otherwise it's maybe difficult to clean up the forms and
great. So
get it
I want to
all
just make that basic distinction clear for everyone who's on this call. Nicole is mentioning production site versus testing site. So that is something I haven't talked about yet. What we're looking at, as I said earlier, was the prod.diamondapproach.org website. That's our production website, which means that this is the real data. This is what's going to go live. So any changes that are made here are, as if you were making it on the real website. It is the real website. If you wanted to test some things, if you wanted to, really mess around with what it's like to add users to the system or change your group in a way and just really, take it to the limit, we have a separate site, and that is uat.diamondapproach.org. So that's an important distinction to make. So if that sounds like something you might want to do, which is like add a bunch of users, delete a bunch of users, test a bunch of things, see if you can break it, that happens in the testing site. Otherwise, everything should happen in the production site, and you should treat it as if it's real data and it's going to go live. So good point, good question. Okay, so I just want to show you some of the other things on this list of groups. Again, I was on the dashboard. Oh, it is after 11, so if you do need to leave, that's totally fine. I'm going to keep going, and this, again, is being recorded.
Nathan, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I got an update that we're waiting for. They're going to do a final code push when we're finished with the call, so they just want to know about how much more time we would be.
Okay, I think no more than 10, 15 minutes at most.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, so again, from this admin dashboard, I can click Manage Groups. And we looked at these first three things. So then here, there's a link that says See Members and Record Payments. So I'm going to open that in a new tab and show you what it's like. Okay, so here we see all of the members in California Diamond Heart 9. And this list includes inactive users. So if we wanted to filter it for active users only, maybe we want to see, this is even, it includes teachers as well. So if we only want to show active students, I would fill out some of these filters here at the top and then click apply. And so now what we're looking at is only the active students in the group. And scrolling down to the bottom of the page, we see that there are 5 pages of these. So they're currently listed, looks alphabetically by first name. But you can also sort these in different ways. If I wanted to show it by last name, I could just click on the column header at the top here, and now it's sorting alphabetically by last name. I can also, if I go to the bottom of this list, I can click on this orange CSV button, and that will download a CSV file of this list. A CSV is just another kind of spreadsheet and something you can open in Excel. So this is a way that you can, if you like using Excel or if you need to use it for anything, this is a way you can get a list of all the active students in your group. And you can see if they've signed the information statement, see if they've paid their dues. And that's all information that's also available in this list here. We see, you may have to scroll over to the right to see a lot of this. It's a very long form, but we see there's a column for dues paid status and sign the information statement. We can also edit people's profiles and look at their own payments and event participations. See how much they owe in dues. So a lot of stuff you can do here. This is the stuff of future trainings. So not to get overwhelmed. One thing you will want to do is to update everyone's dues paid status. You probably won't be able to do this today. We've been having an issue in the system where group admins cannot update this dues paid status, but you will want to do that as soon as we let you know that you can do it. And you can do that here. There's this operations section. I know I'm moving very quickly right now, so it's totally okay if you're lost, but under this operations section, you can do a lot of things in bulk. So I could, select all of these people. I could even select, this is only currently selecting the 25 rows that are visible. I could select everyone in the group. And then I could mark as paid. And then I click execute. Now this execute button is very close to this apply button, which the apply button is really, it has to do with the filters at the top. So that is one thing that can trip you up. But once you click execute, the way this is supposed to work is that it will then mark everyone as having paid their dues. Or you can do it, one at a time. So moving very quickly, but that's, something that you might need to do. We can also look at group sessions and payments in another report, and we can look at group dues in another report here. Just different views of the same thing. So we can look at all the different sessions and see the payment reports. We can even make a report of people who have not paid for that session. And again, this is a full training about how to prepare for a weekend, which reports are you going to want to print out, that sort of thing. But I'm really just showing you what is possible here. So, but you are going to want to make sure that when you go to this see members and record payments list, and then you filter for active students, one thing you want to do is just to verify that these are actually the right students. I think we've done a pretty good job of migrating the information from the old portal accurately. But if you see, if you go to your group and it looks just like the wrong people, you'll definitely want to let us know. So, all right, so we looked at the MyAdmin dashboard. We did look at how to edit the group hub very briefly, how to view the student list. We looked at which features do you want. Do you want to, so setting up a customized group homepage, that's a little bit more involved, but essentially, see if I can just explain it in a few minutes. When I go to manage groups and I click edit, first of all, you can choose where it says group landing page. You can choose which of these features is the default one. So which is the landing page for the group. Now that's different than the idea of a group homepage, which is a customized page that you can fill out with text and images and links. To set that up is a whole other process. I'm just going to say it in case, repetition is really important for learning. So even if this is just so far, I'm moving too fast and it's, beyond what you even want to do, but what you need to do to set up a group homepage is first go to this content menu, add content, pull down to standard detail page. You're going to fill out this standard detail page form. In Drupal, it's a required field if it has a little red asterisk there. So you have to fill in those fields. You're going to save this page, and then back at the group edit page, you're going to, in this group homepage field, you will type in the name of the page you just created. And it'll find it in the system, and that's essentially it. So that's the 20-second version of that, which is, totally insufficient, I acknowledge. Okay, so having zoomed through all that stuff, I'm going to stop there and call it for the day and just see if there are any other questions. Again, we will send this recording out, so you'll have access to these. And then we do intend to turn a lot of these things into more bite-sized videos that will just lead you through, how to do any of these things in isolation. So it's a little bit easier. And we also have a lot of documentation for the website. We have, I think, over 200 pages of documentation that our developers have given us. That will all be available, and you will all be given access to. This is another important point. We have an all admin hub in the portal. So I'm going to send an email after this with a lot of this information, but you will all have, under My Groups and Events, there will be an all admin hub here, and that will have a lot of places where you can share information with other admins. There will be some of these videos, and then access to the documentation for the website. So, yeah. Okay, before I say any more, I'm going to just, see if there are any questions, and then we can call it a day. I do appreciate all of you coming out and being brave enough to take on this challenge. It's a lot to learn, but really, if you take it one little thing at a time, take it in really bite-sized chunks, what was that movie? What About Bob? Where baby steps. So, baby steps, setting up your group, baby steps, setting up payments, baby steps, entering all the sessions for your group, one thing at a time. And we're here really to support you in doing that. because without you group admins, this school would not function. So we appreciate everything you do.
And you can, and as Nathan has mentioned before, you can email he or I directly. My email is erik@ridwan.org. And then there's also the feedback. It's feedback at Diamond Approach, right?
Yeah.
Feedback at diamondapproach.org. And that's going into a system where we're collecting, there's a couple other people that are working with us to respond to issues that come up. So either one of those things, feel free. And feel free to ask us things multiple times too, because I know sometimes that's what's needed.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much in this site that, the number of times I've had to remember how something works, it takes time. But I predict that months from now, there will be a moment when you say, oh, okay, I'm kind of getting it. It may take a long time, but Anthony, yeah.
When we go to my groups and events, we should find our group there.
Yes. And, if you don't, then let us know. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll make sure you're set up as the group admin. So, yeah, good question. If you see nothing here, then definitely, let us know. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. We'll be in touch shortly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks a lot.